After waiting 3 years, the second season of Arcane is finally here, but it's already finished. I have complaints about the breakneck pacing of its final act, but overall, it's a gorgeous and vibrant show with somehow more depth than the sentence, because I am not just referring to the animation when I say gorgeous and vibrant. Thankfully, its second season was well worth the wait, but people are not ready to say goodbye to the show, and particularly a few characters, judging by the discourse I'm seeing. Everyone is talking about how Jinx isn't actually dead, because viewers with a keen eye have spotted a pink line going into an air duct, which could only really be Jinx using shimmer. Caitlyn is then seen looking at the air duct and smiling, which adds more weight to this theory. And lastly, the wonderful final shot of the whole show is an airship flying into the distance. And in the very first episode, Powder said,
"One day, I'm gonna ride in one of those things."
So it creates a very rewarding and pleasing bookend for the series. But this isn't confirmation. This is just a single interpretation of an intentionally ambiguous ending, which is great because my Pookie Jinx is Livin' La Vida Loca. Livin' La Vida Loca! But the other option, the one people are so quick to dismiss, seems to not be getting any attention. I love ambiguous endings and applaud everyone not just taking what is said to them at face value, but with how I viewed the show with my partner in bed on my laptop. I feel like a lot of people don't realize that the importance of my cute little baby girl Isha wasn't to just simply show Jinx's humanity, the basic redeem her by going from crazy psycho in season 1 to parent in season 2, but instead a way to represent Jinx's guilt. In season 1, we have sequences from Jinx's perspective where we are blasted with voices and images of Milo and Kaga, a constant reminder that she unable to be the fighter like Vi, she tries to save the day with the Hextech crystal, but her lack of competence ends up making her responsible for killing her family. Powder tried to help, but despite her best efforts and inventions, she was kind of a loser. I'm gonna say it. And she could not live up to Vi. But Isha, she is everything Powder wanted to be. When we first meet her, we see her as the next Powder due to the obvious parallels, and everyone is like, oh my god, there are 2 Jinxes now, and holy shit, she has a gun?
I'm you, and you're me, and this is a gun.
But then you watch the show, and you realize that Isha isn't Powder number 2. She's Vi number 2.
Stinky!
Isha is a fighter like Vi, and like Powder is intuitive, but she doesn't make stupid mistakes like Powder, and ultimately has the intuition and strength to save the day with the Hextech crystal, but actually holds the competence to succeed. Which explains why Jinx felt so connected to her. Not only is she basically her sister who she craves to be back in her life, but also allows her to go back and do the right thing by, in a sense, living through Isha. Now realizing what must be done and ultimately forgiving herself and letting go of the guilt from her childhood, she decides to be the Powder she wanted to be like Isha and sacrifice herself, which is why I prefer the outcome where Jinx dies. It just seems more satisfying and thematically appropriate to the narrative, opposed to just not wanting the character I like dying. But with how emblematic Isha is of Jinx's guilt and morals, I feel like this outcome honors that relationship, and I am just incredibly in awe of how they were able to pull this off so delicately, because there are so many universes which had a terrible version of this, one that makes Jinx look like a sociopath, one that gives the audience the wrong message on how to resolve guilt. But the addition of that bittersweet episode 7 helps demonstrate that you can't become overwhelmed with guilt based on what you could have done, because it doesn't achieve anything. Here, she isn't sacrificing herself as a punishment or to seek forgiveness. Those things have already happened. It is purely because that's who she's always been in the bottom of her heart. She just wants to help. And after 2 seasons, she is able to finally accomplish that, even if it is in a heartbreaking way. Is she truly dead? Is she actually alive? If she is she with Echo? Tune in. Is she truly dead? None of us know. Oh, but the pink line.
Well, okay, we don't know that. All I'm saying is that we actually don't know. I'm saying a fact. I'm saying we don't know.
Yes, the creators put in that pink line, and yes, they show Caitlin looking at the schematics, and yes, it ends with the airship. But the truth is, we don't know, and that's what the creators wanted. They wanted us to speculate, to read in between the lines, and we are all having fun doing that, no matter what our interpretation is. Because while these have meaning to them, the whole point of art is that you bring what you think to the table. And on God, Arcane was a delicious fucking dinner. Hey, guys, come on. You're not gonna believe this. I accidentally added in a pink line in that final episode, and everyone is clamoring. Okay.